who's actually going to get the most out of the new Acer Predator Helios Neo 14, and who should simply walk away. If you're a gamer who needs desktop-class power in a coffee shop-sized chassis, this might be the sweet spot. If you're a casual player who only hits the occasional indie title, you'll probably be paying for muscle you'll never use. And the big question, does the price make sense for everyday buyers who just want a reliable laptop that can handle work and a few Friday night raids? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent the last week juggling the Helios Neo between my home office, a friend's LAN party, and a couple of travel days, all while keeping an eye on battery life, heat, and how the machine feels when I'm trying to type up a project report between matches. The hesitation most people have isn't about raw horsepower, the specs read like a mini desktop, but about whether that power translates into a smooth, everyday experience without the usual laptop compromises. First off, the most obvious draw is the Intel Core Ultra 9285H paired with an RTX 5070. In real-world terms, that means you can drop into Cyberpunk 2077 on ultra settings, ray tracing turned on, and still see frame rates hovering around 60 frames per second on a 165Hz WQXGA screen. For a 14.5-inch display, that's pretty impressive. You get that desktop-level feel without lugging a tower around. I ran a typical multiplayer session of Valorant, swapped to a demanding single-player RPG, and then opened Photoshop to edit some screenshots. The laptop never stuttered, and the 32 GB of RAM meant I could keep all those apps open without the usual slowdowns that plague smaller machines. That said, the power comes with trade-offs. The most noticeable hidden cost is heat. Acer's advanced cooling technology does keep temperatures in check during short bursts, but once you stay in a demanding title for more than an hour, the fans kick in hard enough to be audible in a quiet room. I'm talking a steady whir that can be distracting if you're trying to record voiceovers or have a conversation while gaming. The cooling system also pushes the chassis temperature up, which means the palm rests can feel a bit warm after a long session. If you value a whisper-quiet environment for streaming or work, you might need an external cooling pad to tame the noise. Battery life is another practical concern. The 14-inch form factor holds a 73 Wh battery, and on paper that sounds decent. In practice, once I switched off the RTX 5070 and ran the system on integrated graphics for standard browsing and document work, I got around 5 to 6 hours of mixed usage. Push the GPU, and you're down to under 2 hours. For a gaming laptop, that's expected, but it's worth noting that this machine isn't meant to be a primary travel companion if you need long unplugged sessions. Now, who should actually buy this thing? If you're a competitive gamer who travels to tournaments, the combination of a 165Hz GSWC display and the RTX 5070's ray tracing performance means you can practice on a screen that mirrors high-end desktop rigs. The 14.5-inch size is a compromise between portability and immersion. It fits in most airline overhead bins, unlike a 17-inch monster, and the matte panel reduces glare on bright planes or CAFs. The 1TB SSD also gives you room for a full library of modern titles plus your work files, and the NVMe speed means load times are practically instantaneous. You'll also appreciate the dynamic RGB lighting if you like a little flair on the go. It's not just aesthetic, the lighting can sync with in-game events, which adds a bit of immersion that people who stream often find useful for audience engagement. For creators who do live streaming, the AI-enhanced video output can be a subtle but handy boost when you're doing quick edits on the fly. On the flip side, if you're a casual gamer or a student who only plays Minecraft or a few indie games, you'll likely be paying a premium for horsepower you'll never fully exploit. The price point sits firmly in the high-end segment, and you could get a laptop with a modest GTX 1660 Ti for a fraction of the cost that would handle those lighter titles just fine. Likewise, if you prioritize a silent workspace or need a machine that lasts all day on a single charge for remote work, there are ultra-portable options that sacrifice a bit of gaming muscle but win big on battery and acoustics. A practical strength that stands out is the 32 GB of DDR5 memory. Most laptops cap out at 16 GB, and that extra headroom is noticeable when you switch quickly between heavy applications. I was editing a 45-minute gameplay capture in DaVinci Resolve, rendering a quick export, and then jumping back into a match without the usual lag spikes. The speed you feel isn't just a marketing number, it's a tangible benefit when you're juggling multiple workloads. Conversely, the main practical weakness is the port selection. The Helios Neo includes a single USB-C with Thunderbolt 4, two USB-A 3.2 ports, and an HDMI 2.1 output.